What is going on, guys? My name is Nick. I'm better known as Icy. I am a loser in real life, but I am one of the most winning Gears of War players of all time. Over the last 10 years, I've represented some of the biggest organizations such as Optic Gaming, and today I'm going to help you guys get better at Gears of War Reloaded. If this video helps you guys at all, please leave a like, hit that sub button, and leave me a comment letting me know what else you guys would like to see. Alright guys, the absolute first thing that you guys should do is make sure that your settings are good for you. Now I say good for you because that is very important. You don't have to copy everybody, you don't have to copy me. Oops. But you definitely want it to be comfortable for you guys. Play on a sensitivity that feels right and don't try to force it. So a lot of players play on all 30s. I actually play on all 28s. It's still fast and it gives me that speed that I'm looking for in certain scenarios. So I would definitely play on something around 24s or up, maybe even like 22s or up. But I really wouldn't go much lower than that simply because of how this game is in 2025. It's a lot different than original GOT 1. Control scheme, I play on alternate. You're going to see a lot of players, especially the really good players, play on this. What this essentially does is separates your roll button from your bounce button. So as you guys can see on the giant controller on the right hand side of your screen, in order to run I have to hold X, and in order to bounce I press A. Now if you guys are just trying to get into learning alternate, you will notice that the angles that you can bounce are a lot different than normal default. You might feel a little sticky. You might feel like, oh, you're not getting, your wall bounce. It's not registering. That is not the game. That is alternate. So it is user error. If you're not getting that wall bounce. The biggest tip I can give you guys, I might as well just throw this in there, is on alternate, make sure that your left stick is pointing in the direction that you want to bounce into every single time. Right? If it's not, then you're more times than not going to get the wall bounce. It doesn't matter if your right stick is looking at the wall, sometimes you are not going to get that bounce. So in order to ensure that you are going to get that bounce, definitely just move that left stick in the direction that you want to go, and you will have much better and cleaner and smoother movement from that point on, once you guys get used to that. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about is omnidirectional evade. So a lot of people aren't exactly sure what this means, so I'm just going to make this as simple as possible. Okay, I'm going to rotate over here and go to the middle bridge, and we're going to make this very simple, right? So when it's off, you can only roll in 4 different directions, right? You can roll forward, of course, you can roll backwards, you can roll sideways to the right and sideways to the left, right? You cannot go diagonal in any direction. If you turn this on, which I highly recommend, there are certain pro players that actually use this off, but I would recommend turning this on. It basically opens up all the diagonal angles for you. So if you want to roll diagonal back right, diagonal back left, even though I just messed it up, there you go. Diagonal forward to the right, and of course to the left. Definitely recommend playing with that on. However, especially if you play on default, you may misroll a little bit more with it on compared to it being off. So it's something that you'll have to kind of get used to either way. A lot of Gears of War is about rhythm and consistency and just comfortability overall. So if you choose it, or if you choose not to use it, just make sure that you give it time to get yourself used to it, and that'll help you out in the long run. We're gonna talk about some shotgun things, some unique tricks, and like little things that you guys can implement into your game, and we're gonna do our best to simplify this as much as we can. That way everybody can understand it, of course. And yeah, so I'm very big on simplifying the game, like I just mentioned. I think that one of the biggest problems with players trying to get better at certain things, or even people trying to get good at things in life, is they overanalyze and they overthink, and they're not sticking to the fundamentals and the basics, right? So let's get into this, guys, and let's see if I can make you guys understand this a little bit better. All right, so one of the best things you guys can do in Gears of War Reloaded, and this is really true in most Gears games, however, this is really strong in this game is called a back A. So I'm sure you guys have watched streams and watched YouTube videos and heard people talk about back Aing people. A back A is essentially getting onto this cover, pulling back on your left stick, and please keep in mind my controller cam is, you know what, matter of fact, let me go ahead and move this over here for you guys. That might help you guys. All right, so what we're gonna do is a back A. It is very simple. You're gonna pull back on your left stick just like this, literally onto a cover, pull off. That's all you do, right? And all you do is you just shoot. Boom, boom, right? If you want to shoot somebody over here, boom, angle your right stick a little bit and pull off and shoot. That's it. Shoot somebody right here, pull off, make sure you're angled up, boom, right? So it's very simple, okay? And it's no different when you're wall bouncing around, which we will get into. You know, if I want to back A on this cover, right, I'm going to be running up here, I'm going to slide, I'm going to pull off, and I'm going to shoot. So boom, just like that, right? Now, you have to be a little bit careful. Notice where my pellets are, right? If I have an opponent who's right here on this cover, right, notice how I would have missed. I'm shooting, like, their body would be in between my shots and the wall. So you have to make sure that you're angled properly, center of your screen, of course, and boom, just like that, right? Boom, perfect shot, right? So just like that. Feel free to add in a little LT or a pop shot, right? You can do that. It's all completely preference. I don't personally recommend doing this unless you have momentum. So what I mean by momentum is if you're already moving like this. The reason I say that is because I don't really know exactly why, but it just seems a little bit more natural flowing. Like instead of getting on this cover, pulling off, pressing LT, pressing RT, it just seems easier to be like, all right, I'm sliding in, pulling back, boom, right? So I don't know. It's completely preference. It doesn't really change anything as long as you're hitting that shot. It really does not matter. So I would recommend, you know, trying a little bit of everything. I personally do both. Just depending on the situation. But yeah, and that's the same thing on left hand, of course, pulling off and shooting, pulling off and shooting. It's very simple. The reason it's called a back A, just so you guys know, because I know some people are probably, why is it called a back A? This is why. So a lot of players like me, for an example, I'll shoot, get right back on cover, boom, like that, right? So the reason that is called a back A is because I'm backing, I'm shooting, I'm right back in cover, right? So back and then A, right? I'm back in cover. So that's the only reason it's called that. There's no other reason. And yeah, don't overthink it, guys. If you guys are, you know, trying to work on your back A's and stuff, the biggest thing I will say is obviously, you know, doing the actual back A is pretty easy. You simply pull off the cover and shoot. However, making sure that you're accurate is definitely the hardest part. And I would just recommend, you know, being very honest with yourself and being very, you know, I don't know, like conscientious or whatever that word is of, you know, where you're actually hitting and where you're actually shooting, right? So, like if I wanted to shoot this block right here, for an example, right? Boom, boom, right? So it's, you know, you just have to work on that. If I want to shoot this little pillar, boom, this one over here, boom. So it's just all about practice and timing and getting that all together, right? So that's pretty simple. We'll move on from that. I think you guys have a pretty good understanding of the back A and actually how to use it. So this is another thing, man. Pop shotting is super strong in this game. If you guys don't know what pop shotting is essentially pressing LT and then RT. So like for an example, if somebody is standing right here in this open area, boom, 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 right? Even this, like where I'm holding LT just a slight extra second, that's still considered a pop shot, but it just basically, instead of sitting here blind firing like this, it gives you an extra second to line up your shot and hit it. Now, one thing about this game, right, is as you can see, look how fast I'm strafing side to side, right? I'm moving pretty quick, right? Okay, moving. Now, if I hold LT, look at how fast I'm moving. Not the same speed, okay? A lot slower. So when you're sitting here holding LT, you're less mobile, and when you're, you know, not holding LT, you're able to move more. So just keep that in mind. Anytime that you are actually pressing LT, you are standing still for a half second. So unless you're, you know, mixing it in like this, you know, you're gonna be kind of a sitting duck. So just make sure that you guys are timing it correctly, and that'll definitely help you. But that is a really, really strong shot. Pop shotting, it helps you line up your shots, and you can do it also in cover. It's super, super strong on cover. I see a lot of players do this when they're sitting in a cover, just LTing, LTing, LTing. This is really good. But when players, like imagine I'm still on this cover, right? When players get into this range, you don't want to just sit here and LT because, you don't want to get hit, right? So, boom, LTRT, pop shot, boom, boom, right? You're basically in a scenario where you can hit them, but they can't really hit you because of how fast you're getting right back into cover. So that's definitely something to think about, and something that will help you guys out, in my opinion, quite a bit. All right, so just a quick thought as well, since we were just talking about the back A and pop shot. One thing you guys can do is kind of add them in together. So like imagine, this same scenario where I would be on this cover and somebody would be in this area, right? We get to this point, right, we're pop shotting, I get in cover now, they're shooting, whatever. One thing you can do is you could pop shot like this, or you could back A off the cover. So just like I said, back A and shoot, you could do that over the cover, back A, shoot, right? But quickly, boom, boom, boom. Look at where all my pellets are hitting, right? So I'm going to be, putting in quite a bit of damage to this person. This is a little bit more advanced, so definitely give it some time. But this is a really, really strong thing that you're able to do in this game because of the center screen. And, yeah, I think this will help you guys out quite a bit, as long as you guys add these in together where you see fit. All right. Another thing is cover swapping. Cover swapping is super, super strong in this game as well. Cover swapping is essentially this. So you guys see this little logo at the bottom of my screen. It's Marcus going from one side to another. All you do is literally, if you look at my analog stick, I'm pointing in the direction I want to go, and I simply press A. Okay, this is really, really strong. A lot of times you'll see, really good players kind of cancel it by roadie running in the middle of it, just like that. You can cancel it at any time, early. You can do late, just like that. You can do it right in the middle, just like that. You can even, go all the way. So it's just a matter of what you see fit in the moment. One thing that a lot of top players will do is they will throw in a wall bounce in the middle of this. So it's essentially like cover swap, cancel, wall bounce, and now they're instantly, imagine you're right here, trying to push this person, and they're doing this. It's going to be a little bit difficult, right? You have to hit a really, really clean shot, especially now that the shotgun has a wider spread. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's a very, very simple thing, and there's a lot of places on every single map that you're able to do this. So just kind of look around, and you'll see some cool areas that you're able to do this. This one's a really weird one that you guys probably didn't know about, right? So just something like this. Always be on the lookout for things like this. It's something that you can catch your opponents off guard with, and it will definitely help you out. Canceling it is super easy, like I said. Some people don't exactly know how, but it's really, really easy. Doesn't matter if you're in an alternate or default, it really does not matter. You simply cover swap and start running. That's it. Cover swap and start running. Doesn't matter what control scheme you're on. It's very, very easy. If you add all of these things that we just talked about together, it looks something like this. Another move that's really good in this game is roadie running on the wall. So of course, roadie running at your opponents can be good sometimes, just like this, fighting in this way is good, especially if you mix in some of the things that we just now talked about. However, one thing that's really strong in this game is actually roadie running on the wall. So one thing that a lot of people don't know about this game is, even if it doesn't seem like this is actually a fact. You will take less damage if your body is on cover, okay? So if you're on cover like this, it doesn't matter if you're sitting on the sandbag, you're on this wall, you're on this cover, you're on this cover, it doesn't matter, right? You will take less damage in fights if you are roadie running or if you're just simply sitting on a cover like this. It's not a significant amount. You will still easily die. However, it's really, really good if you're full health to just run up on a wall like this and, you know, pop off, you know, try to pop shot, back A, do whatever you want to do after this. But this is actually a pretty good play, believe it or not, as long as you're using it with common sense. So obviously, you know, if somebody is standing right here, this is not going to be a good play, me running into them. That wouldn't make much sense, right? What might make sense, right, is me getting a little bit of initial damage and then going over here to close the distance, right? The reason that is obviously I'm pretty far from him, and I'm taking less damage if he does shoot me from, you know, while I'm on this wall. So something to think about. You know, Gears has one of the best and most unique movement systems in the game. And even in this game where there's no air canceling like previous Gears games, you can get really creative and you can, you know, really dictate how the game goes or how certain fights go based off of your movement alone. So I would highly recommend trying to implement this into your game. This isn't something that I use a whole lot, but I thought I would let you guys know. You know, not everybody has the same playstyle, so maybe you guys would want to use this. All right, let's get into some more advanced things, especially with the Gnasher. A lot of players, you know, have already gotten to this point where they understand some of the things that I've already been saying. They've been playing for a while, so, you know, maybe now they're looking for some more help in a more advanced style, right? So let's get right on into it. I will help you guys out. But I do want to just remind you guys to pace yourself, man. Gears is a game, like I said, where not everybody plays the same. Not everybody's at the same level. You definitely don't want to rush it. So try to understand the basics first, and then, you know, eventually move up and try to do some of these more advanced techniques, okay? So just my 2 cents. Definitely something I would recommend for you guys to do. All right. Let's get into wrap shotting and reaction shotting. So this is something that a lot of players struggle with, and rightfully so. This is a very, you know, it's a tough technique. If you don't know exactly what you're doing, it's definitely tough. So let's get into wrap shotting. All right, wrap shotting is essentially sliding into a cover or already being in a cover like this and basically shooting and killing somebody right here, okay? And that would be on the opposite side. So, of course, you could just shoot over. You could also back A over, you know, something like that. But something that a lot of players do, and they've done a lot in previous Gears games, is called wrap shotting. So what that is basically wrapping around the cover and shooting, okay? So what do? Instead of back A, you up A, which is the exact opposite of a back A. A lot of you guys up A without even knowing it, which is why I don't need to get into this really. You just slide into a cover and continue walking forward or running, depending on, you know, how you want to play it, right? So you're just going forward off of a cover. That's what an up A is, right? Nothing special. However, if you want to shoot while doing it, it is a little bit different. So you go forward, you aim to the left or right, depending on you know, which cover you're on, and you shoot. You don't have to aim. It is preference. However, I would recommend at least throwing in a little pop shot. Mainly because it's much easier to hit that target. So what you do is you slide into this cover, you already start moving your camera a little bit over, you up A like you always would, you pop shot, boom, just like that, right? So all together it looks like this, okay, just like that. All right, pretty simple. What's much harder is doing it on left hand, okay? Left hand is much, much harder, and the reason that is because if you look at the default, you know, min here that I'm playing as, the shotgun is placed on my right hip, right? So I'm right-handed here. I'm not left-handed, so that is why doing it on the other side, which would be the left side, is pretty hard, okay? It's also a different mechanic, which I'm going to show you guys right now. So, you know, if I try to do the exact same thing I'm doing on that cover, you'll see that I'll hit this cover a decent amount. So what you have to do is there's a different timing window. You have to kind of wait a second to actually shoot, okay? You can't shoot so quickly or you'll hit this cover every single time, right? So you have to wait a second. One good thing to do is, just like I'm doing right now, go into practice with a friend and practice with a pistol. If you can hit your pistol shot, you can hit your Gnasher spread for sure, right? So just, you gotta wait a little second and then go for it, okay? So it is just a little bit different. A half second, maybe even like a quarter of a second difference. But it definitely makes a huge, huge difference when you're actually going for this kill. I also wouldn't highly recommend going for this lefty wrap shot a whole lot. It's definitely a unique thing, and you should only use it in certain scenarios. However, I'm just teaching you guys how to do it because I know a lot of people hit this cover and they don't know why. Okay, so it's just timing, just like everything else in this game. It's all about timing. Alright, so I already taught you guys how to do the wrap shots while aiming. Now let me teach you guys how to do it without aiming. This is super advanced. This is something that I specifically do more than most players, I would say. It's something that I've practiced a lot, and it's something that I really like to do. I think it's really good. But you won't see a lot of players doing this. This is definitely high level, and I'm kind of exposing myself here a little bit just for you guys. All right, so this is what you do. In order to wrap shot without actually aiming consistently, what you do is you don't actually wrap shot. Okay, it looks like a wrap shot, but it's not. See how I'm aiming my camera down like this? This game is center screen, by the way, in case you guys did not know that. I'm sure most of you guys knew that at this point. So the shots come out of the center of your screen, which is why things like this are possible, okay? You saw how I'm shooting over there, and I'm right here. Look at where my gun is, okay? This is why this is possible, because this game is a center screen shooter. It is not coming out of the barrel of my gun. The gun is strictly for visuals. The shots do not come out of the gun, okay? So in order to wrap shot without aiming, what you do is you slide into the cover and you look down a little bit, okay? You're looking downwards, just like that, right? You see where my shots are. This is very, very consistent because it's center screen, okay? So pretty much if they're on this cover and I go for this, they're going to die probably 8 or 9 times out of 10 as long as they don't kill me first, okay? So in order to do this, you do not do a normal up A and shoot. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do it. I mean, you can, but your timing window is going to be, it has to be nearly perfect. So what you do here is you actually shoot before up Aing. This is a trick that a lot of people do not know. And like I said, I am exposing myself for you guys here. But this is what you do, right? You slide into the cover, you press RT, and then you up A. So it looks something like this. Okay, so it's almost like the exact same time, but the RT is slightly before the up A. Okay, that's really important. Now, this is also the same thing on the left hand. So this is something that even pro players do not know. I've been kind of keeping this a secret from a lot of players, to be honest. You'll see a lot of players doing exactly what I said, which is aiming around the left hand wrap shots like this. But if you do the exact same thing I just did on the right hand, which is shooting before up Aing, you'll be able to do it on the left hand as well, just like this. Okay, just like that. Does that make sense? So you press RT and then you go forward off of the cover. Something that a lot of players do not know, and I think a lot of people probably won't even make it to this part of the video. So if you guys did get to this point and you got that trick from me, please leave a like. Would really appreciate it, man. Keep that a secret for me. Alright, guys. Next is reaction shotting. If you guys don't know what a reaction shot is, it is actually named after a player called Jack Reaction. It is not literally called a reaction shot because you're like reacting to something. It is named after a player. So Jack Reaction first started doing this, I believe, in Gal 1, but I think it really became popular back in Gears 2 and Gears 3. Shout out to Jack. I am friends with him. Yeah, man. So a reaction shot essentially is shooting like sideways or even backwards or anywhere in this vicinity, right? Away from where I'm headed. So if I'm going to up A this way, I can actually shoot this person back here. And it looks something like this. Oh, that's not how it looks. Looks something like this. Just like that, right? So I'm running away while shooting backwards. This is super, super advanced, like I said, so you're going to have to give yourself some time in order to learn things like this. But that's what makes Gears of War so beautiful, is there are so many techniques that are, you know, it takes time to master. It's almost like a fighting game, right? So again, it looks something like this. Just like that, right? In a slow sense, right? In a fast sense, it's like this. Boom. Right? I can shoot anywhere behind me, okay? In order to do this, what you do is just like you're going to do a normal up A and run away, just like this, you are going to turn your camera. So if you look at my left stick, it's all in the left stick, okay? when I'm going forward like this, right? If I'm just headed straight forward, my left stick is up because that's the direction I want to go, right? So I go up and I run away, okay? If I want to run this way, I go up and I'm aiming to the right with my left stick, okay? Now, this is the weird part about reaction shotting. This is called a 180, obviously, because it's completely behind me. So I'm getting into cover like this, right? And I'm pressing up to get my little animation right there at the bottom. You see that where Marcus is coming around the corner? That's different from this animation, okay? This animation is rolling, okay? And you're able to do this very, very easily, sometimes by accident. So you have to make sure that the animation is popped up where he's coming around the corner. And what you do is if you look at my left stick, right? Now, if I'm facing this way and I'm pressing up, okay, the same direction I was facing, or the same the same left stick direction as when I'm facing this way. Notice how the animation changes on the bottom, right, the icon. Okay, so I go from doing this to now, if I'm not at all moving my left stick, but I'm facing this way, I'm now rolling. That is because left stick is the most important thing in this game, okay? So if I want to go left and up A, I have to press left, the direction that I want to go, okay? Do you guys see that? Left stick, this is the direction I want to go. So no matter where I'm facing, I have to aim in that direction, okay? Does that make sense? Same thing right here, right? So like I wanted to go left first, and then I switched it to the right, and now I'm going back into the cover, okay? So left stick is super, super important, guys. And in order to do a full reaction shot, this is very, very hard. You have to do this up A really fast. And kind of like when you're wrap shotting like this, you're just going the other way. Now, you could actually do an inverse. This is called an inverse, but we'll get to that in a second. A reaction shot, though, is right here. So I'm going like this, and then I'm moving my left stick almost completely backwards now because I want to go backwards. And I'm shooting. Okay? So it's all in the left stick, right? So I'm forward. Oops. So I'm going forward with my left stick, right? Just like this. Now I'm going backwards, right? And I'm shooting, okay? So this is something that you're going to have to really practice. And it's the same no matter what direction you're going, okay? So if I want to go this way, it's the same thing, right? If I want to go this way, it's the same thing. Okay, do you guys see what I'm saying? So it's all in your left stick. And, you know, quickly it looks like this. Right? That's how it's going to look, you know, when you're actually in a game playing. Okay, and you can add in the road you run at the end, so you're continuing to create space and distance away from your opponent. Again, this is something that's really, really tricky, and this is the hardest way to do it. This is a full 180, like I said. There are much easier ways to do this when you're not trying to shoot directly behind you. If you wanted to shoot over here, it's really easy. You just simply up A and basically shoot over there. That's simple, right? Pretty easy. And once you're able to do that full 180, you'll be able to reaction shot anything, okay? It'll be super simple for you guys. All right, so that is reaction shotting. Now, this is called an inverse. This is a little bit more different. It is the same concept of shooting while going away from somebody. So, like, this is a really popular cover to, like, inverse. So, like, let's say somebody's right here, and I'm coming through over here, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to take and hit this cover, okay? Me going like this is technically an inverse. It's just a very mild one. Okay, so the reason it's called inverse is because I'm not reaction shotting. A reaction shot from this angle would be me going like that. Okay, it would be out, right? An inverse is going in. So I'm up-ang, I'm holding my LT, I'm bricking them, I'm keeping it moving, okay? An inverse is really good, though, in certain scenarios. So, like, right here, look how much difficult this would be if I wanted to reaction shot backwards, like that, versus inverse. Do you see how much easier that is? Look, inverse, boom, reaction shot. Well, I mean, I guess they both look pretty easy, but you'll just have to take my word for it that inversing is much easier. All right, the last thing I'm going to reiterate here is the center screen shotty, and then we will move on to movement tips. I know a lot of people would like to move better in this game, so I'm going to try to help you guys out with that. But first, I just want to reiterate that your shots do come out of the center of your screen. So just like this, right? If I, you know, wherever I'm aiming, all right, so here we go. Right here is my aimer. Try to imagine that that's where my aimer is, and it's going to go in that vicinity almost every single time, okay? It's not perfect. There is RNG in this game. Don't ask me why. Just understand that the shots come out of the center of your screen for the most part, okay? So, to be honest, because of how wide the shotgun spread is, it doesn't actually matter a whole lot that there is RNG. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't matter at all. There will be times where you will strictly miss your shot because the game decided that you're going to miss a shot because it's RNG. However, more times than not, if you have good center screen placement, you will be able to get that kill as long as you're not missing, you know, massively with your center screen placement. So there is no real trick other than cheating. You know, if you wanted to cheat, you could put something in the center of your screen, which a lot of players do. I do not personally do that. I don't think it's necessary. I actually don't even think it helps all that much, to be honest. Center screen is really simple, man. You know, you have to have a little bit of an imagination, right? It's not rocket science. This is the center of my screen. This is where I'm going to shoot, okay? Right? Like, at the end of the day, you know, you're not going to be perfect, but you know, if I'm pop shotting like this, boom, okay, I know, boom. Now, you know, that's where my shots are gonna be, right? This is where my crosshair was. See right there, I got a pretty crazy RNG, right? It went all the way over there. That is gonna happen sometimes. Okay, that is gonna happen sometimes. Don't get frustrated. That is just part of the game. It happens to everybody, me included, unfortunately. Again, don't ask me why, but that's, you know, the coalition knows and I do not know because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, anyways, that's it. Just wanted to let you guys know that the shots do come out of the center of your screen, and it's something that, you know, is really important to remember. So, like, for an example, and this is a trick that I would use even back in, like, Gears 4 and Gears 5, that'll help you guys. So remember the pop shotting that I showed you guys, where you just tap LT and RT? This is really good in shotgun fights. So if you can imagine the center of your screen where it's at, right, as soon as you pop shot, boom, right, you can hit your target. This is one thing that's really, really good in shotgun fights, especially if you start adding in like wall bouncing and stuff, right? Okay, the center of my screen, I know where it is. Boom, right? Boom. So this is just something that you'll have to practice, but really try to abuse that center screen shooting and track players with the center of your screen, because then once you have them tracked, all you have to do is press LT and then RT and you're going to hit a really good shot. Alright guys, I think that's enough with the shotgun. You know, there are some other things that I could definitely talk about, but honestly everything is kind of bunched up together with those things. And it just comes down to practicing, I think. So I think, you know, for the majority of you guys, just putting in some more time and making sure that you guys are trying to do the right things, that will definitely help you guys. So, alright guys, let's move on to movement, wall bouncing mechanics, and things of that nature. Okay, so I just switched to default, which I don't normally play on. However, this is what I played on my entire career, my whole esports career, my whole everything, until a little under 2 years ago is when I switched, which is obviously the off season of Gears. There's nothing to play for. There's not really any game, just Gears 5. And I was just switching to Gears 5 alternate because I had to switch to paddles because of carpal tunnel. And then I ended up feeling like, okay, my hands are hurting regardless, so I'm just going to go back to claw, which is what I did. So, but yeah, alternate is essentially the best control scheme. Tournament is the same thing. It's just called, you know, tournament. But essentially anything that you can do to separate your wall bounce from your roll button is something that is going to be beneficial, you know, obviously because you're not going to roll as much, okay? So this is me moving on default. Let me like really try to focus up here and try to give you guys a good example of moving on default. So like obviously you can still wall bounce. You could still move around. Now this is obviously a control scheme where you are going to roll sometimes, but being able to wall bounce and stuff is less about the control scheme and more about understanding what exactly is going on. So in every single wall that's on this map, there is like an invisible little cone that I'm able to slide to. And obviously, you know, we can't see it, but once you play, you know, a certain amount, you're going to be able to learn how far it is and, you know, basically when you're able to hit that wall or not, okay? But if you notice, on my controller cam, I'm not spamming A. I'm not pressing it a million times. I'm being very methodical about it, okay? Like, I want to go here, I press it. Boom, boom, right? Boom, 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 boom. I'm not spamming my A button. That is not how you wall bounce fast or smooth or well in this game. You have to be very methodical, be very, you know, sure about where you want to go, and commit to it, man. Don't overthink it. You know, if you want to wall bounce 3 times and press A 3 times, that's all you have to do. It's not hard, man. You know, it's just a matter of your analog sticks and, of course, the timing and the distance of where you're at. So, same thing goes with alternate here, except you have a lot more freedom on default, actually, believe it or not. You have a lot of freedom on default in terms of not actually pressing your left stick where you want to go. You definitely don't have to be as perfect on default in order to get that wall bounce. However, you are going to misroll sometimes, which is kind of the, you know, the reason that a lot of players end up playing on alternate, because, you know, they don't ever want to misroll. Misrolling is basically a death sentence, right? So yeah, essentially though, you just want to time your wall bouncing as well as you can. And don't spam it, man. Spamming it is definitely the worst thing you can do. Now, on alternate, which is what I play on, it's what a lot of pro players play on. You know, this control scheme, in my opinion, is a lot better. Mainly because you literally cannot roll unless it's off of the corner like this. You're able to roll off of the corner, but that is left stick. That is a left stick problem. The other thing that you're able to do is accidentally not be on the edge of the cover. So like if I'm like right here and I want to try to up A, I will hop over. That's one thing that happens quite a bit on alternate in this game. I'm not sure exactly why this game is the way it is, but that is the case. So this is my movement on alternate. It looks very, very similar, as you guys can see. Not a whole lot of difference, honestly. So the reality is, if you're able to master alternate, which does have different angles for wall bouncing, which you'll just have to feel out. I can't really give them to you because I don't know them. But you'll just have to feel it out. Once you get those down, alternate is definitely the better control scheme, I would say. Now, doing things like reaction shotting and, you know, up-bang and things like that, you know, you're gonna have to realize that you're playing on a control scheme where your buttons are separated. So it takes a little bit more work, but it's also, you know, you don't have to worry about rolling. So again, though, I want to just keep this in mind for you guys. Speed does not mean spamming, okay? Being able to wall bounce fast and smoothly like this, it has nothing to do with how fast I'm pressing A. Like, you could easily count how many times I'm pressing A right now by looking at my controller. It is not anything special, okay? It's all in my left stick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Like, it's not, I'm not spamming it. I'm not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy, it's smooth, I'm taking my time, I'm in control. And players who are in control of their character are the scariest players to play against, because they can do anything that they want to do. So again, don't get discouraged about, you know, the timing and everything, but definitely take your time. Don't try to wall bounce as fast as I'm wall bouncing right here, because you're not going to be able to right off a rip. This is, you know, years and years and years of experience, and, you know, obviously I'm a fucking loser, man. Like, that's just the reality of it. So you gotta kind of take these things with a grain of salt and do it at your own pace. One other thing I want to mention about all this movement stuff is none of this matters if you can't hit a shot. If you're not accurate and if you're not hitting your opponents, then you're still gonna die, man. It's not that hard hitting people that wall bounce around, especially in 2025, man. A lot of people have been playing Gears for a long time. So, you know, to be honest, when players are wall bouncing around, you're still going to be able to hit them. So just keep that in mind, you know, while you're so focused on movement and stuff. If you're lacking accuracy and fundamentals with your shotgun, you're still not going to have the success that you want. I would highly recommend learning how to use a shotgun and doing some of the things that I mentioned in order to actually find success, and then worrying about your movement and things of that nature later on. That's just my recommendation. There are people out there that are going to tell you the opposite. But listen, man, I've been doing this a long time, and I'm trying to help you guys out. You don't have to take my advice, but it is how I strongly feel. Some people ask is like, you know, how do you throw your grenade so quickly? A lot of people know about this, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. But instead of doing this and lining it up and throwing it like that, right? Or even just like trying to blind fire it, which will have no chance of making it to its target. Grab the nades, walk as close as you can, press RT and then LT, okay? RT and then LT. That is how you throw the grenade the furthest distance, the quickest way possible, okay? Essentially what you're doing is holding LT for like the longest thing and then throwing it, except you're skipping that animation by throwing it first and then pressing LT second. That is one way that you're able to you know, basically get that max range, and you're not just standing there like a, you know, fish in the barrel basically. So another thing is weapon sliding. Weapon sliding is really self-explanatory. A lot of people, man, unfortunately are not able to do this, and I understand it's pretty hard, but it's really easy, man, at the end of the day. Like, it genuinely is super, super simple. All you do is just press X and then press A. I mean, it's literally that simple. Default or alternate, it doesn't matter. Alternate is just simply pressing Y, which is a little bit different. But it's the same concept, right? So you pick it up and you slide. You have to do it extremely fast, like literally almost at the exact same time, but not at the same time. This is one thing that takes a lot of practice, but once you kind of get that timing down, you'll be able to do it with no problem. It's not the game, it's not your controller, it is simply, you know, pretty difficult to do. Like right there, I messed up, to be honest. So, you know, it's just a matter of practice and a matter of being quick enough. I will say, if you're using paddles or anything like that, I would not recommend using those while trying to weapon slide, mainly because your paddles are not going to have the same response time as your face buttons. A lot of people don't actually know that, but it is true. Your face buttons are going to have higher response times, so, or lower response times, I guess, so faster. So yeah, that's pretty much it though, guys. I don't have a lot else to talk about. I mean, little things that I do, like sitting in this cover, for an example. I've already gone through this, but shooting first and then up-aing. Oops, messed up. Kind of like that. Just blind firing. You know, this is all me shooting first and then up-aing. This is not up-aing and then shooting. So yeah, just like little things like that. If you guys have any questions, or if you're curious about you know, something specific, please leave a comment. Let me know what you would like to know, or come check out the stream, man. I'm gonna be streaming pretty much every single day. I'm probably streaming right now, unless the Steelers are playing, of course. But yeah, man, I'm happy to help you guys. That's what I'm here to do. I know there's a lot of PlayStation players that you know, are new to the game and stuff, so I'm happy to help. I really would love to see more and more players play the game, and I know this game can be really frustrating. It definitely has a learning curve, so once you kind of get over that learning curve, you're going to start to have a lot more fun, and hopefully this video helps you get to that point a lot sooner. Mechanically and everything, that is definitely the one way you guys can get better, is by doing all of those things and listening to this video. The other way is going over to skillgap.gg and signing up for an account. It's completely free. One thing that me and many others, such as Explosives, Mental, Kenny, Praise, Solars, Summons, Identives, some players that I'm naming here, all of us came from Game Battles. So Game Battles, obviously, if you guys don't know, it's essentially a website, or it used to be a website, where you make a team and you play other teams or other players, and you keep a record and you try to go up the ladder, right? You try to stay on top of the ladder. So right here, this is me and Kenny Bounce's Dubs team. We are currently second place. Let me go to the standings here, and you guys will see. So right here, right, there are 6 pages of teams. So this website is absolutely blowing up. One cool thing about this is at the end of the season, you get to go into a bracket if you qualify, and you get to play for $1,000, and that's just in the Dubs. If you don't have a Dubs partner, do not worry. you go over here to Gears of War Reloaded, and you go to the singles ladder, and you can play for the exact same way, in the same way, for $500. Now, if you have a bunch of friends and you have an entire team, what you can do is eventually, at the end of the season, play for $3,000, guys. $3,000. This is by far the most money that we have had to compete for in Gears of War in a long time. I am partnered with this website. I would be more than excited, more than happy for you guys to be playing this. There are currently 54 teams on here. Let's see if we can get that number to 500 teams, man. We got to blow this up, man. Seriously, let's get this going right here, me and Domes, obviously. But yeah, man, sign up, man. Sign up completely free. There's no strings attached. You literally just make an account, put your email on there, add your gamer tag, and you start playing and competing for money. You do not have to put a single penny on this website in order to have a chance at $4,500, and that is just for this season, guys. That is just for this season. So future seasons, who knows what it's going to be. I highly recommend it, guys. I would love it if you guys would please go and play on skillgap.gg. Over on the stream, I will be playing a bunch of matches. Like I said, I'm currently undefeated, man. I am currently undefeated. I'm 8-0 over here, and I've just started playing. So listen, man, I might do a little thing where, whoever can beat me, I'll give them $100, something like that. We'll see, though. We'll see. We'll go down that road when we get there. But all right, boys. If this video helped you guys at all, man, I would really appreciate it if you guys would leave a like, hit that sub button, and tell your friends, man. Share this video. Let's see if we can blow this up. Let's see if we can get 1,000 likes on this video, man. Gears Reloaded just came out not too long ago. Let's see if we can get 1,000 likes on this video, all right? Again, if there's anything else you guys are interested in learning, or if you're curious about, there are no stupid questions. I'm happy to help anybody with anything, man. Please leave a comment and ask. Do not be ashamed. I'm happy to help, all right? Love you guys, man. I will see you guys in the next one, all right? Peace, peace, peace.